Hey guys, and welcome to my vlog. My name is Erin and I'm a writer. I'm working on several fantasy pieces right now, so I figured I would start up this world building vlog series to kind of go through some of the questions that I've had to answer while creating my fantasy worlds. So today's topic is food. Want a strawberry? So food is a huge part of culture and it's super fun to be able to play with when you're building your own. Food is a really good way to set scenes and really enrich the senses. If you want to give the reader a hint of where they are, you can use scents, flavors, all that good stuff that's associated with food to really give them a sense of the environment. Another really good way if you want to build a scene is to use all five senses, and food lets you do this so easily. So a good example of this is a lot of holiday meals. As soon as you enter the house, you are hit with every sense. You can smell the food cooking, hear people talking, glasses clinking, food frying. You're gonna see the decor, the arrangement on the table, food and flatware that's involved. You're gonna feel the weight of your utensils. You're gonna feel the heat and flavor of your first mouthful. You can get right into all the flavors that are being integrated, the sweet, salty, savory, because people are gonna have memories associated with these different things, and you can use that to your advantage. Why? Come back. We're not done yet. You're so reflective. So the fun thing is you can make food mean a lot more than just basic body fuel. Now, you don't have to, obviously, but the opportunity is there, and it's really good to build on. Besides the food itself, you're going to want to think of where this food is coming from. You're going to want to kind of figure out what are the staple foods of the cultures that you're developing. Every culture has a small handful of foods that pretty well are integrated into almost every dish. There are foods that are cheap, abundant, easy access. These are usually centered around grains, so rice, bread, pasta, that kind of thing. And then it's the complementary foods and the different spices that you bring in that really create a regional flavor. In addition to that, you're also going to want to know how does food differ between the different classes. You're going to have the differences between peasant loaves and, say, white bread or white pasta or white rice. Also in terms of holidays, what foods are going to be served at those, because in a lot of cases, the everyday food is quite different from what people are going to eat on special occasions. Now, if you're figuring out where your food is coming from and how it's getting to people, this can be integrated into your story. If your characters are traveling, if they're traders, why do you hate me? Fine. So another really important thing when you're developing food in your culture is figuring out food scarcity and food insecurity, because in a lot of cases, not everyone has access to it. What do people do if they don't have access to food? Do you have things like food banks, charities, soup kitchens, that sort of thing? Can people grow their own food? In a lot of places, it's completely restricted and you are required to purchase. If people are able to grow their own food, then that can help with food insecurity. It also can bring into play a lot of different conditions like famines. If you have hailstorms, then your food's pretty well screwed. They're just all different dynamics relating to food that you can integrate into your story if the plot permits. So what would be a normal meal for your characters? If they're at home, if they're traveling, if they're at work, what are they eating? What do they love? What do they hate? What do they tolerate? Because it's everywhere. And is there a story behind any of these specific foods for them? Food can also be used to make your landscape more realistic. If your characters are going anywhere, they're probably going to pass some means of food production. These are things like fields of crops, orchards, livestock. If you are going to make them travel, how are they feeding themselves on the road? If your climate is supportive of easy access food, then it's much easier. If they're going to be traveling in areas that really don't have a lot of resources, then you're going to have to plan into your story how they're feeding themselves, how are they carrying what they need to survive to the end of their journey. This is where you get things like, lembas bread, where it's a single bite will keep you fed, and it allows them to be lazy and not cart around, 100 pounds of food. The important thing is to make food work for you, work for your plot, work for your characters. Use it to enrich and embolden your world. It will bring more depth to your characters, to your culture, to your landscape if you are including food in all of its iterations and aspects and means of production, etc., because it's integral to daily life and you can't really ignore it. It's really up to you how much you include, but I just want you to know that the opportunity is there to create this well-balanced system around your food sources. Think about the foods that you eat. Think about the foods you eat when you travel. Think about how important food is to your existence and bring that into the story. One example of this that I'm going to give just from my own work is my historical fiction based on the life of Anne Bonny. She's in a very detrimental situation because of food scarcity. And not that it's scarce in general, but that she has no access to it. She's very food insecure, and that drives a lot of her actions in the early part of the story, because if you don't have access to food, then you're at risk of starvation. Food can drive your characters, it can drive your plot. It doesn't have to be the thing that drives it forever, but if you want conflict, then throwing in a famine is going to make people desperate, because really, in a matter of weeks, they're facing death. Just make food work for you. It's a really fascinating and in-depth topic, and I hope this helps you guys think of some of the ways that it can help your story. Thank you so much for watching. I will have another vlog for you next Wednesday. All my links to my social media are down below. Hit me up if you have any questions, and I'll see you next week. Bye, guys.